And welcome back. We're going to speak now with Francine Matthews, Executive Director of the Zuna Institute, and learn about the often hidden life of lesbians of color. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell me about the Zuna Institute.
Zuna Institute, you know, we've been around for 10 years, and we're actually getting ready to celebrate our 10th anniversary. And we're a national advocacy organization for Black lesbians, and we promote empowerment and visibility and leadership and, leadership development. And one of the primary issues that we exist is because there have been lack of support for the African American and Black lesbian community within this larger LGBT movement.
Well, I was going to say even visibility for any community of color, men, women, bisexual, transgender.
Absolutely.
I mean, I remember when I moved from Richmond, Virginia 20-some years ago to San Francisco, my first observation was, we're all the black folks. I mean, it's true. You walk through the Castro and you wouldn't see a black man, much less a black woman. I mean, in a sense, there's been a coming out of your community within the larger community. Right.
And that's what's really paramount within the movement, that the movement does not exist, without us, that they're all the diversity within the movement, which will make the movement success, a success.
Do you think that there is still, and this is a very broad question, but a degree of, I don't want to say self or internalized homophobia within communities of color, but just more of an awkwardness about talking about it in a family situation than it is for non-black people? And
I think it's not that it's more, or I think it's more prevalent because we don't have the resources or support systems around it to help the person or the individual talk about it. And I think, we have more prejudice than any other community, but when I get ready to talk to my mother about me coming out or such, who would I turn to get support? Who's going to help me find resources to help me, in doing those challenging times? So I think that's what's limited. There's limited resources and limited support. So
when you did come out to your mother, where did you turn for support?
Well, I came out a long time ago. And I think, for me, it kind of like comes out gradually, because we never really talked about it directly. Women start showing up, and I guess my mother just kind of got the hint, and then at some point, we had a conversation. But nowadays, the new generation that's coming out now is feeling really they're more educated, and they're more, they feel as though by us paving kind of the way, they feel more comfortable kind of being out.
Right. Where are you from originally?
I'm from San Francisco.
Oh, San Francisco girl. That's
I remember the Castro before it was even paved. The roads were paved.
Well, so tell me, what was that like, and when did you realize that your identity as a gay person, as a lesbian, was actually, wow, this is, in a sense, my main street? And did you ever feel that it was your main street?
At one point we did. In the very, very beginning days, I guess, I hate to date myself, but maybe the late 70s, it actually kind of filtered from the hate, kind of this freedom feeling of hate, and then kind of went over into the Castro, and it was just like, that's where we hung, that's where we did everything. And I think as Castro got formed and more community involvement, that's when I think it changed. It changed to where, it was less and less people of color, but...
Well, and certainly less women. I mean, I remember when I moved to San Francisco in the mid-'80s and have always lived in or near the Castro, it was very much boys' town. And there was one women's bar at the corner of 18th and Collingwood. Do you remember that?
Collingwood, yeah.
What was it called? No one can even remember anymore.
It was, I
want to say Francine.
It was Francine's.
And now people say there was a lesbian bar in the Castro.
Right. It was right across the street from...
right across from Cala and the little...
yeah, exactly. It was called Francine's, yes.
Now, there seems to be a return to a diversity or respect for diversity in the Castro. But for a while there, it was a boys' town and it was a white boys' town.
Right, absolutely.
Was there a time when you stopped feeling comfortable in that community?
Absolutely. Even when we would go up for the Halloween and get ready to party and kind of celebrate us as a community, you still feel this like, I just want to go back. One of the things I felt as though when I came out as a lesbian, that I didn't feel as though there would be a level of discrimination at all.
Within the gay community.
Within the gay community, I feel we're all gay. We're all kind of isolated. We have all these issues that we are similar, and we're kind of fighting for the same thing and the rights. And I guess I never thought any lines to be drawn in that.
It's so funny you
and
say
I
that.
I soon learned that it was definitely.
Yeah, a very, very dear friend of mine, a black man from Washington, D.C., with whom I lived when I came here, helped me get started. And I remember they did a showing of Gone with the Wind at the Castro Theater, and they had Confederate flags out. And I'm from Richmond, Virginia, so I know what all that means.
Right.
And I went to the theater owner and I said, I really think this is a mistake. And long story short, my friend said, David, did you not expect that the gay community would be any less racist than the community at large? And I, like you, was surprised by that.
I was very surprised.
Do you think it's still racist?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I think there's still racism within the white community, and I think being your sexuality, your sexual orientation, I think doesn't. It doesn't prevent anybody from being racist or discriminatory.
Now, the work of the Zuna Institute is advocacy. It's about
leadership,
empowerment. And now one of the projects that it has taken part in is a film, correct?
Yes.
Called The Gift of Family. Tell me about that.
We had the opportunities. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, because within Prop 8 and the whole marriage issue, the whole time span of that whole, like it was since 2005 or so, there has been very little images of black people within this movement. And so, a lot of black people say, well, it's not our movement, it's not about us. And so it was kind of like a status quo, like nobody expected to see black folks or Latino folks within these videos or media streams and everything. So it's always been a project I wanted to do, because I always said, why aren't there more? And we've got thousands of calls from people. Do you have any family? Do you have any pictures of any couples? Do you have any couples on any video or any film? And I said, well, I'm finally going to try to do some, right? So we had an opportunity for one of the foundations in San Francisco to actually do a project, kind of a pilot project, that will speak to something in the area of marriage equality. We'll be kind of accepting within the marriage equality. So I said, well, here's my chance to actually put couples on the screen talking about family. And we actually just finished a report, our first, not our first ever, but a first report we did called Black Lesbians Matter. And within that report, statistics say that black lesbian women are the highest percentage of parenting within the LGBT movement, period. So
that sounds like a landmark study. I mean, I've never heard that before. I mean, in a sense, it sounds obvious. I don't know what it is, the mothering gene, or just if you go through enough struggles, you realize you're able to bring people under and hug them tighter somehow.
There you go. Well, a lot of these numbers, there's some statistics from the Census Bureau. When they gather all these numbers together, you realize, black lesbians are as high as 33% of parenting, opposed to all the other groups. And so then why shouldn't we be seen on screen? Why shouldn't we be a part of any marriage movement or any type of equality movement? Why wouldn't we, with family and children? And so that's why this project is very, very important. And there are 5 families. We have 3 couples and 2 single parents. So we even have a diversity within the diversity, you know. And so it was very, very exciting to be able to complete this project, and we're going to use it all over the country for various ways. A
teaching moment.
It's going to be a teaching moment, be able to open dialogue and conversation within the African American community, and saying, we're parents just as you. We support our families just like you. We want the same rights and privileges just like you. In
our last few moments, tell me where we can see the film and what it's, where it's going to be after this. Right.
The first showing is going to be June the 12th at the Quackmack Women of Color Film Festival. It's going to be at the Bravo Theater. It's going to be shown on Sunday, I guess around...
Sometime in the afternoon. Bravo for Women in the Arts, yeah.
Sometime in the afternoon. And it's going to be shown again at the Frameline. Frameline's going to show.
So you are going to take part in the Frameline Festival. Well, and I got to tell you, when I first came to town, I had someone on an earlier show this month was talking about how when I first saw my first gay film, it was all white men. You would not have known there were women, much less women of color.
Right.
Thank you for coming on the show. We've been speaking with Francine Ramsey. I got her name wrong earlier. I apologize. Executive Director of the Zuna Institute. I'm David Perry, and you've been watching 10%.